Welcome back, or welcome for the very first time to Peeled. It is putting a spotlight or unpeeling the layers of the people that make up the Port Adelaide Football Club. My name is Jared Walsh and Daniel Norton is here once again. Nort, I'm so pumped to be back here.
Walshy, I am as well. This is episode number 2. And the reason why I love doing this podcast is you get to learn about players who you may not necessarily know much about. You see them on the field, but I want to learn more about what makes them tick, particularly the ones that might not be as outspoken as others. Today's
Guest is one of the most interesting people I reckon I've met that has played for the football club, because I think you have sometimes you have a stereotypical footballer that lives and breathes the game, that knows their champion data stats, they know their dream team points, they know the ins and outs of everything when it comes to football, and when they're not watching or playing football, they're watching American sport and stuff. Yes. And this person is completely different, and I love that, because there are so many people that are listening right now that will share the same interests and passions and, I guess, aspects of being a human being like our guest.
This particular person has different hobbies, barely watched football growing up, or any sport, as you pointed out, growing up. Grew up in the country, had to work his backside off to be able to make ends meet so he could actually start an SANFL program. So this is a completely different journey than what what you associate with a typical AFL football journey.
It was also involved in a pretty high-profile late trade, because it was one of the trio a couple of seasons ago where Connor, Zach, and Xavier, one of them left, and he was part of the trade that said, see you later to the X-Man, and we welcomed a hyphen, which I think there's a couple of hyphens at the football club. But all we can say is it's a really great chat. We talk about the go-home factor, we talk about the trade, we talk about injuries, but then we find out a particular dollar amount that was spent on a card.
You've got to sit down when you hear this. I tell you what, it is eye-watering stuff. I have to mortgage my house just to afford that card. It's unbelievable.
It's really, really good, and I wish we had more time, but the beauty of this is that they are a part of the Port Adelaide Football Club, so we get to see them all the time. Let's get into episode 2 of Peeled with Brandon Zerk-Thatcher. Norts, I'm just trying to do my calculations here with my husky voice, which we can get to in a moment, but I'm pretty sure that this is one of 4 hyphenated players at the Port Adelaide Football Club. So Jason Horne-Francis, Darcy Byrne-Jones, Sam Powell-Pepper, and Brandon Zerk-Thatcher. I think that's the 4.
We did have a Jasper McMillan-Pittard.
Yeah, but he dropped the McMillan. That's gone, so that's good. BZT, welcome to Peeled.
Thanks for having me, guys.
It's great to have you, and we need to be really honest here. I've got a husky voice. You're a bit fatigued, Daniel, and well, Brandon, we'll get to you in a moment, because this is like 12 hours after a game concluded, pretty much, if we're being specific. So we're all fatigued after a night game.
We are. You've got your role on field, of course, which you do magnificently. And I was just saying, just before we started this podcast, I think I drove into the driveway at about 11:25 last night. And then by the time you and I wind down, it's about 12:30 before you get to bed. But I want to know, from a player's perspective, what time they actually finally get to sleep.
Yes.
After playing a high octane game of football. Thatch, What time did you get to sleep last night or this morning?
I reckon it was about 1 o'clock. Probably got home 11:30, like into bed at 12, and then watched a couple of episodes of Attack on Titan, and then I was ready for bed.
What's Attack on Titan?
I've been getting into anime a little bit more, and it's just an anime show that I've dug into, and watched a couple of episodes of that, and
this is so good. Like there's so much to unpack about this layered individual today, because we're going to find out that he doesn't watch sport, he doesn't follow a team, so we'll get to that. There's card collecting.
Really?
Yeah,
just follow sport.
No, there's lots. There's we're going to ask about how a trade happens, because obviously it was a really highly documented trade between Brandon Zerk-Thatcher and Xavier Dersma, basically, straight swap.
And it went down to the wire.
Went down to the wire.
I'm talking the last sort of 9 minutes style with Adrian Dodora, I think, at Essendon, and Jason Cripps. We'll get to that a little bit later.
There's a go-home factor, but I think the most important question I have for you to start off is, how do you think I went when I emceed Jordan Sweet's wedding over summer? What would you give that as a rating?
Yeah, I'll give you a 10 out of 10. Yeah, it was really good, actually. I was impressed. Might have to do mine one day.
That's good. I'm getting some work out of this.
He always tells me, you never ask a question until you know what the right answer is going to be. And he told me he did an outstanding job.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good feedback from everyone. So.
But it was really, can I say it was really intimidating, because I'm a big fan of sport, and like I love Jordan Sweet. I have a really good relationship with him. I don't want to stuff it up. But then, you know, there's people and players that I respect there. So Lockie Jones was there and Miles was there. But then from a Western Bulldogs point of view, like big Tim English was there. So I was like really mindful of doing a good job. And funnily enough, Jordan and Juliet were married at the same place I was married at. So that's the first time I'd been back to that place since I got married. So it was
Hopefully a positive familiarity for you.
Well, it was stinking hot, and we had Checkers from Marmalade come and DJ, who I think was quite underprepared. So it was interesting. But you've got a great relationship with him, which we can get to as well.
Before we get off emceeing weddings, I had to MC one across the off season as well, not for a player, but how nervous are you? Because it is the most special night for that family, that couple, and you've just got to nail it. And if you get the intro wrong, it's all downhill from there. The anxiety I had that afternoon was next level.
Yeah. Was that your first one?
No, but I don't really MC weddings unless like I'm a guest. Okay. So if I've got a family friend or a friend that said you're invited to the wedding, can you MC it? I'll do it. And yeah, I've got to know Sweetie a little bit from his time at North Adelaide, and then had a bit to do with him when he was at the Bulldogs. And he's, as you know, just a really humble, genuine, beautiful human being. So straight away it was a yes. The post-game thing I also wanted to ask you is, the game that was played last night was a really physical game, and the terminology that the players had used was it was a hit-first mentality, which I think was a really good response from the players. How does your body recover? You had a 5-day turnaround, but as me, who doesn't play contact sport, your body in itself, in your role as being a defender, so you need to be physical even before the first ball is bounced. Are you sore right now?
I am, yes. Although, like, I actually pulled up relatively okay this week, but I am still sore.
And what does sore feel like? In what kind of way?
You're just aching everywhere. You got bruises. You got corkies. Your whole body, like just random spots. Like you get hit in the back. You don't know until the next morning, and then you wake up and you're hobbling out of bed.
Wow. And then when do you feel normal? Or is this in the AFL that you don't? So that's the thing, right? You just have to be sore throughout the whole season and manage it, because that's the toll of being a professional AFL footballer.
Yeah, I guess that's why we put a premium on recovery throughout the year. Obviously, pre-season's a lot of running, a lot of weights, but yeah, during the in-season process, it's very recovery based, and I doubt anyone feels 100% throughout the whole year.
So what does recovery look like for you today for a professional athlete? Not aside from recording a podcast at 10:30 in the morning, but what does recovery, is it a beach session, pool, is it hydration, foods? What goes into your recovery?
Yeah, for me, I'm a pretty stock standard operator. I've experimented a fair bit over my 8 years now, but for me, I'll usually get a pretty decent sleep in, not this morning, but get some Z's, and then morning walk, and then potential dip in the ocean. I don't live too far from the beach, so if I do that and get a bit of food in, I'm pretty good.
You actually look like you're sore when you run, though. Like you've got a unique kind of running style, and I'm just saying that from someone that sits in the stands and watch that. So is that just something that you are feeling sore when you're playing a fair bit as well? Because we'll get to your injuries in a moment, but there is a physical appearance of you looking like you're a bit sore.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's definitely parts of my body that are sore, but I definitely do have a bit of a unique running style. I've been told that.
Well, you look fatigued a minute and a half into the game.
Yeah.
And that's just after the warm-up. But I don't mind that because it's sort of, I think it lulls the opposition into a sense of...
false sense of security.
Correct. So
It's all strategic.
very strategic. I wanted to wind it back quickly to the start because you've got a really interesting journey through football, and before we get to Essendon and coming back to Port Adelaide through the trade period as we spoke about, tell us about growing up in Murray Bridge and your family and finding your way as a young man through the system into football.
Yeah, well, grew up in Murray Bridge, played local footy down there, ended up playing for both the local teams, both the rivalries, Ramblers and Imperials. Juniors was Ramblers, and then, started getting a job, saved up a bit of money, and then I was able to come down to Sturt. I probably didn't come enough down to Sturt, probably because of the travel, and I'd have to rely on Mum to drive me up 3 times a week, and I reckon maybe I was 16, and I just felt bad for Mum. I was like, Mum, you don't have to drive me all the way there. It costs a bit of money. Like, don't stress about it too much. So I ended up stopping going to Sturt for like a year or two, probably in those important years where you're, under 16s, under 18s, and then that last year of 18s, I actually wanted to get up to Sturt and put my best foot forward, and didn't get the call up until probably like halfway through my top age year of under 18s. So I played ruck. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, ruck forward. So,
Wow.
Yeah, it's in the kit bag. So
You got it there, Kenny.
It's in there.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
Was local leading goal kicker, Ken. So if there's ever a chance, I would love to go forward. But ended up getting my opportunity because everyone went back to school footy, and got in and then made a bit of an impression. So.
You've glossed over a little bit there.
Yeah,
at the
glossed
start.
over it.
No, and I understand that because and there's a real sense of humility about the way you go about things. But is it true that when you were 13, there was some financial stress with the family? You spoke about Mum and the inability to be able to come down and be part of an SANFL program, probably because of the distance, but also, some financial restrictions there for you. That you, in primary school, you started working at a local IGA to be able to save up enough money. So by the time you're 16, you'd have enough money to have a car so you could travel down on your own. Is that part of your backstory?
Yeah, I probably didn't think about it at 13 years old, but at 13 I got the opportunity to work at IGA, which was really cool for me. I ended up saving a bit of money, and maybe I was 15 or 16 when I bought my first car.
Yeah.
So that allowed me to have a bit more freedom and actually drive down to Adelaide myself.
Hopefully you drove when you were 16, even if you bought it at 15.
Yeah.
They've got different rules in Murray Bridge, mate.
The only reason why I raise this point, Walshy, is, and I fall into this trap a little bit as well, you sort of have this assumption that AFL players, because they've got to where they are, have all come from comfortable,
silver spoon,
privileged backgrounds.
Yep.
I mean, right now we've got a guest here that had to work as a 13-year-old. I think you worked in the local Pizza Hut as well when you were 16 or 17 in Murray Bridge, just to make ends meet so you could get a chance to travel to be part of an SANFL program. That's just the first point. I mean, I don't think enough people are aware of some of the hurdles that our professional athletes have to overcome.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of people who don't live close to the city that could probably make AFL. It's just probably the commitment to travel and do those things, which I reckon was probably the hardest part. And I reckon there could be a lot more gems out in local footy if they committed to that.
So you obviously really close with your mum, which
Yep.
is great. So I have a two-part question in regards to getting drafted. So did you know that you were going to get drafted? Was this something, because it was late, so was it something you were waiting to happen, or you had a commitment, or it almost surprised you because it was so late?
Well, I didn't get picked up in the year that everyone gets drafted, their draft year. And then the next year, I still talked to a few clubs. And then I thought if I was ever to go anywhere, it was Essendon. And my teammate got picked up before me, Jordan Houlihan at the time. And yeah, pick 66, I was like, oh, if I'm going to go, it's now. And yeah, just luckily got called out, and it's one of the best days of my life.
Wow.
So then it is the best day of your life, but I'm a bit strange when it comes to how I see life and sport and things like that, because I'm really close with my mum. Like, she's my best friend, and the idea of being apart from her doesn't sit right with me. So knowing that you have to chase your dream and you want to be a professional athlete, but you have to move to Victoria and go and play for Essendon, and you're back here now, which is great. Was there a little bit of that inside you going, this is a big shift here, as much as you're excited because you get to follow your dream?
Yeah, I probably didn't realise it at the time. Because you don't know if you're going to get drafted or not. Like I got drafted and then I was out of there in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had to grow up pretty quick. I was probably in the confined town of Murray Bridge, and I didn't know the greater world. And I remember going off the plane at Melbourne, and I seen a freeway with like 5 lanes, and I was so yeah, this isn't Murray Bridge anymore. Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about, I mean, you would describe yourself as a natural introvert.
Yeah.
So,
probably.
and that's absolutely fine. But when you're an introvert and you go into a high pressure sporting environment where you have to meet 44 new teammates and 10 other coaches and so forth, as an 18-year-old interstate with a 2-day turnaround, I'll tell you what, I'm extroverted in nature, but I would find that really, really difficult to deal with. I would find that extremely intimidating. What goes through your mind when you're jumping on that plane and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen here?
Yeah, it's exactly that. You don't know what's going to go on, and you sort of just jump in the deep end, and you sort of, just find your feet a little bit, like talk to as many people as you can. It's pretty daunting, to be honest.
There's a thing about playing for Victorian clubs, but then there's a thing about playing for big Victorian clubs, and then there's a thing about playing for big Victorian clubs that have been starved of success for so long. So you had to put on that red and black Guernsey and run out there with an expectation of not when, but if Essendon are going to play finals or win a final. Like, there's memes on social media, there's fans that are scathing. As a player and as a person, and as you said, like as an introverted kind of person, how do you actually deal with that added pressure of running out there and playing football every week?
Yeah, I suppose when I first got drafted, I didn't really know those pressures and the big Victorian club. I didn't really watch too much footy. I remember sitting down with a couple of the recruiters, and they were asking me whose spot I'm going to take, and I couldn't even tell you who was in the side.
Oh, it's so good. I love that. It's so good.
I was pretty oblivious to it all when I first started there. But as you do when you go to the club, you learn, and throughout my time there, you learn how important it is for the footy club, and I suppose the pressure is there, but I try not to think about it too much. I was just trying to get a game at the time.
Just hold the Essendon conversation there. I'm fascinated, Walshy and Thatch, people that grow up not watching much sport, not following much sport, who end up becoming outstanding professional players in their own right without modelling themselves on anyone they really follow closely on TV or live, whether you're playing cricket, tennis, basketball, football, whatever it might be. I'm just fascinated by that. So there was no one growing up that you modelled your game on, or that you saw that you wanted to be like?
Not particularly. I was a Crows supporter growing up, so I really liked Patrick Dangerfield, and probably when he moved to Geelong, I just probably stopped watching a lot of footy. But yeah, no, I felt like it was hard to model my game on someone because I didn't feel like I played like many people.
Well, it's been good having you on the program today, seeing you as a Crow supporter. So thanks very much, Brent. No.
I love that though, because I don't think we speak to enough people like you that aren't football obsessed, aren't sport obsessed. Like, everyone's got the stuff that they're into, which we'll get to in a moment, but that also must allow you to really switch off, because you're not really switched on when it comes to sport and football. And I think that could be a real advantage for you to have that almost flow state of not to actually let things get too good or let things get too bad, because you're not so invested in knowing everything about the sport that you're playing or what you're watching on TV. Do you find that like you can escape really quickly?
Yeah, I think so. I don't tend to read into too much. So, like, obviously I do my vision and my oppo analysis, all that sort of stuff. But other than that, I don't really watch too much or do too much. I know what I need to know.
So then how do you actually switch on? Because I compare you to Dante Vicentini a little bit, right? I love Dante's story, and he's like such an intelligent human being that loves reading and really mild-mannered human being. But then he plays football and he's a mad dog. Like, he's just a psycho, and in the nicest way possible. But you can see that. And for you, you are mild-mannered, calm, but you have to go out and sometimes beat the living crap out of the forwards that you play on within the rules of the game. How do you do that?
I just like to think that I've got a competitive personality. I'm probably not the angry person you probably see out on the footy field a lot, but yeah, I think I've just got a competitive nature, to be honest, and I just like winning. Don't like to lose.
Well, I think Mum may have made comment once before publicly and said, "Brandon, fire up! Like, be a little bit more aggressive." But then she said, "But that's your disposition. That's you've got that softer nature. But then you can switch and not want to lose and not want to be beaten in any one-on-one and not have a goal kicked on you. I mean, that's, I guess, what can happen. You can be multidimensional as a person."
Yeah, I guess so. I guess Mum raised me to be a big softie, and then due to that competitive nature, probably through my dad more. I don't know, that's just the way I am.
Yeah. So you're at Essendon. You play. How many games you end up playing? 55 at Essendon.
I think it was 51.
He wouldn't
51?
know, mate. He doesn't
follow.
care. He doesn't. He played 51. I'm sorry, that's the best compliment, though. I just love it so much, because you play the game, and like Norts and I could like tell you how many games most players have played, or like it's just ridiculous, and you're like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, there may be 50 or so. It doesn't matter. It just is the best. I love it.
So the will to come home, it was obviously playing in the background. Tell us how that all unfolded, the trade back to Port Adelaide at the end of 2023.
I remember through, I think it was the COVID saga, the hub, I found myself pretty unhappy, probably just due to all the COVID stuff and being away from home. And I remember thinking about maybe going home, and reached out to a family member who sort of knew someone at Port, and then conversations started happening, and I ended up changing management throughout this period, and
Did that complicate it more?
It kind of made it easier, I
Right.
think. And yeah, it just turned out that Port had some sort of interest, which was good. I remember we were getting Jason Horn-Francis that year that I was talking to Port, and they sort of said, "Oh, look, we probably can't really do much for you this year. Obviously, got to give up a fair bit for Jason."
Right, so that was the year before.
Yeah,
that was the end of 22.
Yeah, that was the year before. And I was like, yeah, no worries. Sweet. If it's still there next year, then it's still there. And yeah, that's when I started getting a few more games in the AFL, and which was nice. I could sort of put forth my case a little bit, and I got a little bit more interest throughout the year that I ended up getting traded, and obviously it was nice to be able to come back home with family, and it's just sort of worked out. Port needed a backman, and everything was just sort of lining up.
Do you feel the moment though that you come home, and I've lived away from home before, and see, I'm always pro go home factor, because you've got one life, and if you're around your community and your people, like, I understand sport and the passion to clubs and things like that, but if you get to play in the city that you want to live in, it's even better. Did you feel like that calmness once you made your way back home and thought, wow, I'm here now?
Yeah, it was really nice. During the trade, I was actually on a plane, so I didn't actually know if I was, the deal was going to get done or not. I was hoping it was going to get done, but yeah, when I ended up getting back from Europe, it was just very, a relief. And being back here, you got your family and friends, and life's very just easy.
So take us into that moment. So you're landing in a European city somewhere. You haven't got any connection, and you switch your phone on. And what happens? How do you find out you've been traded to Port Adelaide?
Where was I? I reckon I was at a stopover in Vietnam or something. Like, it was really weird. But I turned my phone on and it just started going nuts. So instantly I sort of knew that something had been done.
Fantastic.
And called Ken straight away, and he congratulated me on coming to the club.
What did Mum say?
I can't even remember. I think she was pretty happy. I didn't tell her right away when Port were interested, and then when it sort of became more real, then I let her know, and she's pretty happy with that.
You go from one really passionate supporter base to another one. We're going to talk about your passions in a moment, but the expectation then that falls on your shoulders, because there was a couple of really targeted recruits that made their way to the football club to fit a needs basis, because the club was, maybe a couple of players away from potentially competing for a grand final position. So then the weight of the world must be on your shoulders because you need to perform. But then you've also had moments where you've had injuries which have stopped you from performing. So how did you deal with the expectation? And then in 2025, you have an injury which puts you out for almost half of a season. So how does that all go with your mentality and mindset?
Yeah, ultimately, I think first it was I was a bit oblivious to the expectations and everything. I just wanted to come home and play good footy. Like, I'm a big believer in, if you're happy, you play well. So when I got over here, I just wanted to get in the side, prove myself again, and I was lucky enough to have a pretty good first season here, and we ended up getting to a prelim. I ended up playing in finals. I won my first final, which was awesome, and then I had an injury throughout the back end of pre-season this year, which was my first long-term injury kind of, and that was pretty flattening. Did all the hard work in pre-season, and then hurt my back. So now I'm just getting on my feet again and learning how to football. So
it was a nasty back injury, and they're hard to deal with, aren't they? In terms of, like, if you don't get your back right, it particularly in the role you play, can hamper your form. So you're fully recovered, obviously, from that, because it did take you 12 to 14 weeks, maybe more, to get over that lower back injury or that back injury?
Yeah, it was about that. The worst part was I couldn't do anything for, I think it was like 6 weeks. I was told I couldn't do any exercise or cross training or anything. So after those 6 weeks, I had to almost have another mini pre-season again, and it was challenging for sure.
We hear about players who have to do rehab on their own. You're in the rehab group away from the main group and how that does affect some players in terms of it does become quite isolated. Talk us through that, because I think a lot of members and supporters, you see the group train, but don't understand there is a rehab group and you are away from the group a lot of the time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's two essentially groups. You've got your players who are in rehab, and then everyone that's sort of in the natural schedule of things. And it can be pretty isolating at times because you're sort of on your own timeline doing different things, and you're progressing in different ways. Like you get that FOMO of playing footy, and like you see everyone like training, just like the little things like that. Are pretty flattening, but it is good that we have like good support people around us, and you do get involved with your whole teammates. Like you're still in all the meetings, you're still learning with everyone. So it's not completely by yourself, but there's definitely parts that are challenging.
Who is someone at the football club that is most like you, that isn't obsessed with American sport? We were talking before and you said that you didn't really know what was going on with American sport until you walked into a card shop, which we got to ask about. But who do you connect with the most in regards to you as a person?
Well, I don't think many people are like me, but I get along really well with Jordan Sweet. I am dragging a few of the boys into these card shops, and now they're becoming obsessed.
Well, talk about this, please, because cards are making a resurgence here. So what's got you into cards? And because your cards might be someone else's watching a game of NBA or watching the Premier League or going to have a hit of golf, which we know you love, but what is the card thing about?
So when I was younger, I watched a show called One Piece, and it's this anime show that's been going on for a long time. It's got like 1,300 episodes. I reckon I've seen them all twice.
Wow.
And
lot.
like I'm a pretty big fan of it. Essentially, it's about pirates and freedom, that sort of thing. And I didn't know until maybe like probably less than a year ago that they did trading cards. And I don't know, I just bought a box one day, and then I got hooked, and I've collected them ever since. And then I just started dabbling in all sorts of cards. Like I've bought Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, soccer cards, basketball cards.
Do you know what the card that you has that is worth the most money?
Yeah.
How much is it worth?
It's worth a lot.
Give us a ballpark.
Come on.
Give us a ballpark.
It's
You don't have to tell us what card it is,
No.
but just give us a
Or where it is.
ballpark of, yeah.
I'll tell you, it's 15 grand is the card I've bought. That's the most expensive.
You've got a $15,000 card.
Yeah.
Wow. So you
So is that worth more than your first car?
Yeah, easily.
you've gone from working at IGA as a 13-year-old to save for a car.
Yeah.
Now you got a $15,000 card.
Yeah.
So did you spend? Is that the value of it, or did you buy it for 15 grand? And I'm probably taking to areas that you're embarrassed.
It's around that value, and that's what I bought it at.
Right.
It's kind of like the holy grail of the set, I'd say.
Because you see, like, Logan Paul, for example, he gets Pokemon
Yeah.
cards, like the most expensive ones, and unboxed. Mate, this is a whole world that we don't know. So, okay, so give us then an understanding. So if there's a 15 grand card, give us a top value of what you could buy a card for. Like if you're anyone in the world and you've got an unlimited amount of money, what's some of the prices that cards are going for?
Ooh.
Because the Pokemon ones are like in millions, aren't they?
Yeah, if you get a really good one. Because it's a game, it's a card game.
Yeah.
There's like world championships and prizes. I'm pretty sure the top prize for the world champion sold for like, I don't know, millions of dollars. So
Unbelievable.
it's pretty crazy the money in cards, and
Yeah. it's
it's all interesting to me. I just love it. I just love everything about it.
And we can see that though, and that's the thing that I'm glad you started talking about, because the smile on your face when you talk about your passion, that just naturally comes through with people. So, and that's a wonderful thing to tap into, because you're not talking about watching every game of footy on the weekend or talking about American sport or anything like that, which is your traditional kind of AFL stereotype. And I love that you are so comfortable within yourself. I reckon that's inspiring, mate, because having comfort within yourself, you don't realise you speaking about this stuff, how many people you're going to connect with just by being you. Because, yeah, you put on the Guernsey on the weekend, you kick a footy around and you run like you're injured all the time. But, like, you still, like, I love that. That's amazing.
You're taking me into areas that I'm very uncomfortable. I don't know anything about cards. I don't understand how value is determined, but it's incredible what you're saying. So I guess how rare a card is determines clearly its value, its supply and demand. So that's what would determine it, and how many people want to get their hands on a given card that you've got.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much that goes into it. Like, I've probably got like 120 cards that I want to grade. So you
want to grade? What does that mean?
So it's essentially just like, have you heard of PSA?
Yes.
So like you get a card and then you ship it off to America, and the PSA company will grade it out of 10. And
the PSA do things like authenticity as well. So like if you've got a signed sports jersey, they'll authenticate it so it's legit.
Yeah, exactly. And the better the grade, the better the card is, essentially. You could get a good card, like the best card from a packet, but it might not be a 10. So there's like little things like that you need to consider.
And so when you're shipping these cards off, there must be a level of anxiety. I'm assuming they're insured, and what goes into that?
Yeah, look, I don't know the specifics of it. Jordan Sweet has a friend that I've tapped into, and he helps me do it all. So, bit of who you know sort of helps me. He's got all the tariffs and everything at the moment. So
you watch American sports, so with any kind of NFL, NBA draft, it's not the players signing jerseys when they're drafted, they're signing cards. Because a rookie card can be one of the most significant things ever in 10, 15 years.
Yep.
So you watch the vision and the players are all signing their cards.
Yeah.
So, and it's incredible, and there's just such a culture that if you don't really look deep inside to it, you don't know too much about. We've got to wrap up in a moment, but Nortz was telling me as well, travel is a huge passion of yours.
Yeah, I love traveling. Been to Europe a few times now. Going to New Zealand at the end of the year, and then might even look at Japan as well over the Chrissy break. I'm not sure yet, but
Japan's got good snow.
Good snow.
Really good snow. Yeah.
Oh, mate, no, I'll just go there for the cards.
You know what I love about Pilled, and I love about this particular guest, is starts off very introverted.
Yeah.
Starts talking about something he's really passionate about. The extroverted nature comes out. Now, this particular podcast talked about two people emceeing a wedding. Would you MC a wedding one day?
Oh, definitely not. Nah, I don't think that's up my alley. I don't know. What do you think?
I'll take you back. When you first got drafted, you might not remember this conversation. We were on a pre-season camp in Queensland, on the Sunshine Coast, I think. And I think I did an interview with you for the website, and we sat down, had a coffee or something for about half an hour. And you expressed there was still this level of anxiety for you because you wanted to fit into the group. You may not remember, but you're thinking, I'm new, I'm coming back over, I'm not overly extroverted, I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to fit in. I just find those conversations really enlightening, given where you are now and how comfortable you must feel in a positive way within the playing group and how you transition in. It's just a good message for other people, kids growing up who might feel a little bit introverted as well. There are ways through.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's something Port Adelaide do really well, is the culture aspect of it, and everyone being accepted for their interests and everything like that. So that's one thing I really love about Port.
I have one last question. Because you're such a nice guy, do you ever say mean and nasty things on the field when you get this competitive white line fever? Like, do you swear at other opponents and stuff? Because I couldn't imagine you doing that. Do you say the F word on the field?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't reckon he does.
No, probably not that much. You probably have to upset me a fair bit for that to come out.
You say bother or something.
Bollocks.
Oh, mate, this has been good. Yeah, it's been awesome.
I love him.
Brandon, thank you so much for joining us. one of the things that really annoyed me when you first moved to the club was everybody called you Brendan, which I didn't like. Yes, people pronouncing players' names wrong just pisses me off so much. The amount of times that I hear people call Connor Rosie instead of just calling him Connor Rosie, that grinds my gears. But, mate, this has been really, really enjoyable. Hopefully you've got something out of it. But thank you for sharing a bit of your life and your insight and your passions as well with us. This has been awesome.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, we gotta get into this card business now, all right?
We do.
All right. Can I borrow 15 grand? Is that all right?
We'll jump online in a sec.
Share the podcast if you did enjoy it, and keep on supporting the people that make up the Port Adelaide Football Club.